Clearwater, fourth grade. It's Mrs. Hogue. Last time we were together, I asked you to give serious consideration to your reading goals while you're at home doing this tough reading work. And I was so proud to see the goals that my class had set for themselves. They were higher goals, reading books with more stamina, reading longer books, focusing on the reading. You did a really nice job making clear, specific goals that you are going to try to attain during this time when you are at home. I'm going to remind you of a few of my goals. When you look at my reading goals, one of my goals was to read a new professional book. Another goal was to talk to friends besides Erin about books. Erin and I tend to like the exact same kinds of books. And my next goal is one that I'm really going to focus on, and it's trying a new genre. The other goals, I'm going to tackle, but I'm going to focus on these three first. So when I was thinking about trying a new genre, I started listing the books that I want to read. If you can look in my reading diary, I'm going to call it a reading diary because this is something that I'm going to use to help increase my reading while we're home and not in a school setting. And some of these were the books that I wanted to read that I'd kept track of. Either, I had taken a screenshot on my phone, or a friend had mentioned it to me, or I saw it on Facebook. And as I started looking through this list, I noticed, oh my gosh, Mrs. Hogue, most of them are historical fiction. So I really need to step out of my genre zone and pick something different. Now, I did something today that was different. Instead of calling Erin, who's the friend that I always call about books, I talked to an assistant principal at another school. Her name is Fatima, and she gave me some professional books that I've added to my list that I'm going to try to look into. Today, after I get done speaking with you, I want you to grab your reading journal, or if it's a Google Doc where you're collecting your reading thoughts, I want you to keep track of a list of books that you want to read. I want it to look kind of like mine. Now, do you need to have 12 books written down? No, probably not. I'm always keeping a running list of books that I choose to read or that I want to read, so you might not have this many. But I want you to go through Mayan. I want you to go through Lightbox. I want you to talk to your parents. Maybe talk to a sibling, a brother or a sister, or a friend, and say, hey, can you give me some ideas of books that you want to read? The next thing I want you to do is have a page that says books that you're reading. Well, if you were in my class, you know that the book that I was reading last before we left was Where the Crawdads Sing, and I loved that book. I think I read it in 2-3 days. But the book that I'm reading now is called Little Fires Everywhere. Now, I haven't updated my reading log, but I'm still reading that book. And I'm going to be using that book as a model for you to see what kinds of things we can work on journaling when we get together next. I also want you to have a section that says books I've finished. I finished the book We Were the Lucky Ones. It was a really good read, but again, it was historical fiction. Now, I want to share with you some things that will be posted on your teacher's Canvas pages. This page talks about genres. And I know that I have been saying a lot about genre, and Mrs. Hogue likes historical fiction. It's right there in the middle. Historical fiction is a story that takes place in the past. It has a real setting, but it has made up characters. It tends to be one of my go-tos for reading, but there's a lot of other choices. Maybe you like realistic fiction. Maybe you like science fiction. There's also fantasy, mystery, poetry, tall tales, fairy tales, and myths. Those are fabulous books as well. Fables, legends, informational text, biography, and autobiography. These are all choices of books from different genres. So I want you to take a look at that when you go to your Canvas page and maybe see which of those choices are the ones you tend to draw yourself to. Maybe you're someone who likes mysteries. Maybe you're someone who likes fantasy stories. This is a template that you're going to be able to use to keep track of the books that you're reading. Sometimes I pick up one book and then, I kind of get tired of it. I read it for a while and then I pick up another book. Mostly though, I want you to focus on reading one book and completing it. So then we can have a good discussion about what happened in your story. What did you learn from it? Is this one that you would recommend to others? I'm also going to include the books I want to read. Now, you don't need to use these templates. They're just there for you if you need to use them or would prefer to write them out this way. I'm writing mine in a notebook, and that's how I'm choosing to share my information. So today, for homework, I want you to find your reading notebook or your reading diary. I want you to keep a running list of books you'd like to read. I'd like you to insert a page that has books you're reading now. And lastly, I want you to include a page that says books you've finished. All of these templates will be included on your teacher's Canvas page for you to access if you need to. Please keep reading. I'm so proud of all of you.